What's growing on, gardeners? It's Monday, September 4th, and it is a hot late summer day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, and unfortunately, we are entering the time of year when many of our weeds are going to seed. That is why on today's video, I'm going to show you a foolproof method that will keep your walkways, garden beds, and landscaping areas weed-free for a year or longer. Oh, and by the way, your earthworms will also love you for this.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Weeds are the bane of many a gardener's existence. Every single second we spend pulling weeds is time better spent elsewhere being more productive. That's why we go through the trouble of weed suppression methods so we can stop weeds from germinating before they start. The most common way that we do this is by applying mulch. Mulch is a really good way of suppressing weeds. However, it does have one major drawback. I have a lot of fruit trees growing in my yard, and around the bases of all the trees, I have a 3 to 4 inch thick layer of natural mulch. And this natural mulch is pretty good at suppressing weeds and retaining moisture overall. However, that's not the real reason why we mulch in our yard and garden. The main reason why we do so is to have a constant supply of a natural, heavy organic matter that is decaying in our soil, because that decaying organic matter is what feeds the earthworms and the beneficial bacteria and fungi in your soil. The weed suppressive and moisture retention capabilities of mulch are really side benefits. They are not the primary reason why we do it. So the downside of the mulch is that nature designed it literally to break down on you. It is only a temporary solution. And you can see as the mulch decays, I'm starting to have my centipede grass overrun into the mulch. You're starting to see some weed pressure develop in the back right there. I have weeds that are germinating, and because all of these fruit trees were mulched back in the spring, a lot of the protective barrier that this mulch once was has decomposed. So I'm starting to get that weed penetration later in the season, and this is untimely because now is when a lot of the seed tops are forming on our grasses. You can see the effect most of all by my citrus and avocado trees. These are the first trees that I mulch every season because they are evergreen and they need that living mulch all year long. So these were all mulched in late winter. Now, you see pretty good weed suppression going on around the bases of my citrus and avocado trees because I summer prune them. In early summer, I remove a lot of the branches and a lot of the leaves, and then I chop them up and I drop them around the base of the tree, and that's why I still have some pretty good weed suppressive capabilities back here underneath those trees. However, in the areas that were only mulched in late winter, you can see a lot of that mulch has literally disappeared, and I'm starting to see grass grow everywhere. That's why when you go over here, all this mulch is almost completely gone. And as a result, I have tons of weeds that are growing everywhere around where I keep my hose. And it's even worse around all of my rain barrels. That mulch has long since eroded. So all of this is going to have to be dealt with. So as you can see, in many cases, a natural mulch layer only has weed suppressant capabilities for maybe somewhere around 3 to 5 months before they decay so rapidly that they no longer are very effective. Now sure, you could make up the difference by mulching 2 to 3 times a year in order to maintain that thick mulch layer, but who has the time and money to do that? In order to compensate for the inadequacies of natural mulch, humans have created products that are a long-term solution to weeds. Here in this container garden area that I have a 10-year weed barrier product that you can place on raw ground. It's like a permeable tarp that will snuff out weeds for the long term. And this has been on the ground for 5 years, and it is still working very well. Now in a container garden area like this where there is nothing growing in ground, I don't need a mulch layer. So this is a great semi-permanent solution for where I'm gardening with my containers. However, it's not really applicable for a vegetable garden or for in-ground trees, and here is why. If I pull back this weed barrier right here, what you're effectively going to see is dead, lifeless sand. This is like beach sand right here. This is not a nice, loamy dirt. There's really nothing to it. This is not soil that you want to grow anything in. One of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is they pull back their mulch layer and then they will install weed barrier or landscaping fabric along the soil. Then they will place mulch on top of that weed barrier for long-term weed suppression. And look, that will work very well for weed suppression because it makes it impossible for any weed seeds in the air to penetrate and reach the soil level, and any weeds that are already there in the soil level will effectively be suffocated by the layer of mulch and the weed barrier itself. However, it will also prevent the organic matter from properly decaying and feeding your soil. So if you have any landscaping placed in this area, it will all suffer. That weed barrier or landscape fabric at the soil level is going to stop earthworms and other invertebrates from reaching this very critical mulch layer. So they won't be able to access it, and the mulch layer is not going to colonize the bacteria and beneficial fungi to the level that you want it to. So long term, this is going to harm your soil, and it's going to harm anything planted within that soil. But as an added bonus, if you do need weed suppression for long term in your garden walkways and in a container garden area like I have back there, I will also make sure to link down in the video description direct links to the awesome, amazing weed barrier that I use. If only there was some kind of natural weed barrier that we could place on top of our soil and bury underneath a mulch layer that could suppress weeds without harming the long-term health of the soil. Ah, there is. The answer is simple. Cardboard. Cardboard is a natural, phenomenal weed suppressant, and it does very well as a natural weed barrier. And as an added benefit, the earthworms love it. All you really need to do is take some cardboard. I mean, we're all getting a ton of boxes delivered to our homes these days, and just scrape back the mulch, and then you will place it on top of the soil directly, and then you will cover it up with 3 to 4 inches of mulch, and preferably keep the mulch moist, at least to start the breakdown process. Now, last year I ran an experiment where I buried cardboard underneath weed barrier, and it still held up after about 1 year. So I know for a fact that cardboard has fairly good longevity. However, when you bury it under mulch, you'll have that microbiome sandwiched in between the top and the bottom of the cardboard, and it does a very good job at bringing in earthworms that will eventually consume it. So what you will be doing is you will be dramatically increasing the effectiveness of the mulch layer and the durability of that mulch layer while still feeding earthworms and still feeding your soil. And as an added bonus, this is also really good for the environment. Most of what we think we recycle is not actually being recycled. It's being tossed right in a landfill. So this is a true, surefire way that you can actually recycle all of the cardboard boxes that are coming to your house. You just want to make sure that it's natural brown cardboard and that it's free of all of the plastic and the stickers, you know, the packing stickers with your address information on it. I removed all of the stickers and the plastic, and now this is ready to go, and I'm going to show you how to use it. And what do you do if you don't order a lot of things online and you don't have a lot of cardboard boxes showing up at your house? You can simply go to big box stores like Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart or Costco. You can ask them for cardboard boxes and they will happily give them to you. The area of my yard that needs the most weed suppression is right here where I have my rolled up garden hose. There's a lot of weeds growing in there right now. Now, under normal circumstances, I would have to pull all of these weeds if all I was using was mulch, because a simple 3 to 4 inch layer of mulch is not going to suppress those very vigorous weeds. However, because we are going to place cardboard on top of it and then place the mulch on top of that, the cardboard is going to suffocate those weeds. So all I'm going to do is knock them a little bit back, place the cardboard on top, and then I'll show you how to apply the mulch. Okay, all of the cardboard that I broke down has now been placed on top of the worst of the weeds. So you can see all of it arranged, and I have some bricks just holding down the loose ends so they don't blow away and they don't get disturbed in the wind. So overall, I'm getting pretty good coverage of the general area. Now that the area has been covered with this cardboard weed mat, I'm then going to place some mulch on top of that. And the mulch that I'm choosing to place is Cypress Blend Mulch. Now, I'm using a rot-resistant mulch in this case, and rot-resistant mulches are things like cypress, cedar, redwood. They all resist breakdown. And the reason why I'm using a rot-resistant mulch is I'm effectively going to mulch an area where there is nothing growing. I just want long-term weed suppression here in this corner. Now, underneath a tree here, I would use a mulch that would break down more quickly, like triple shredded hardwood bark or pine bark nuggets or something like wheat straw. I want the decay underneath the trees themselves in order to add more organic soil around the roots of the trees. but around the open areas, I prefer to use a rot-resistant mulch. And the other reason why I'm using this cypress mulch is it's termite resistant, and as you can see, these trees are placed around the foundation of my house, so using a termite-resistant mulch is generally a good idea around your home. So now I'm going to simply open the bags of mulch and I'm going to place it on top of the cardboard in roughly a 3 to 4 inch thick layer. And here are the final results. As you can see, everything looks really good. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. It is a beautiful blend of wood. The mulch that I used was various ages. I've had them stacked up for a long period of time, so you'll see a little bit of diversity in color. But overall, I think it turned out really well. Now I'm going to take my hose and I'm going to wet the whole area down in order to moisten the cardboard, and that is going to help it conform and lock into place. This is a very important step, so make sure you don't skip it. And here are the final results. After everything has been watered in and locked into place, everything looks great. But the one thing, again, I want to show you is, due to termites and the fact that I am using a wood mulch, even though it is a rot-resistant mulch, I did make absolute sure to leave a little bit of a gap between the house and the mulch itself. This is general good practice when applying any mulch around your foundation. And that one thing is how you can make your mulch layer suppress weeds in your garden, landscaping, and walkways for 1 year or longer. It is just that simple, and once again, as an added bonus, you're also doing the environment a favor because you're taking all of those cardboard boxes that you're accumulating anyway, and you're recycling them and feeding the earthworms in your soil with them instead of throwing them away in the trash. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring that notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in real life in my garden and for my fruit trees, I have them all linked down below in my Amazon storefront in the video description. So expand that video description, click on the Amazon link, and you'll see everything I use in real life. While you're there, check out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Well, it's time for me to go to the gym, and that means Dale is going to get his Kong, and he's been a very patient boy waiting. Dale, do you want your Kong? Okay, let's get it out of the freezer. Oh, there it is, the peanut butter Kong. Oh, Dale's gonna be so excited. Dale, come. Sit. Okay, now take this on your bed. There he goes. Very good, Dale. Okay, I'm going to the gym. You keep the house safe. I'll be back soon. Love you, buddy.